Everybody, welcome back to Off the Wall. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sol.
We are Ted Lasso, season 3. It's here. I'm happy. I'm so happy. I'm mostly happy. There's one thing I'm not happy about. Something I'm very not happy about, but we'll get into that in a sec. Everybody's back. Nate can go sit in syrup for all I care. They keep trying to make me feel bad for him, and I don't. Not at all. Shout out to Sharon, the Dr. Fieldstone for getting hers. Good for you, girl. Yeah. Other than just this one glaring thing, I love this episode. So what about you?
Literally echo what you say, although I feel probably a little bit bad for Nate, but mostly F you to Nate. I find it hilarious, and I've said this like multiple times to different people, that this show is gonna make West Ham such a hated club, and West Ham is really not notoriously hated of a club. They're not like a Man United or a Chelsea. So it's funny to me that that's happening. And what's also funny to me inside baseball, is that in the show they're projected to be top of the league, but in real life they're in a relegation battle and might be in the championship next year. So I was just like, not only are they possibly getting relegated this year, they're also going to get shit on because of this show. And that makes me laugh.
It's we pick up, it's the end of the summer, I guess, and he's sending his son back home. Poor Ted's going through it because mom's got a friend named Jake, and he's buying his son presents.
Thanos glove,
not feeling great, not feeling super great. Ted's not feeling it. We know that Rebecca is just cannot get Rupert out of her head because he is playing all the mind games and they are working. And
although she has a little bit of growth,
she does, but she's struggling. She needs to beat Rupert.
Yeah,
because she has.
And even it was funny because when I watched it, I was like, when she said, like, I was like, oh, growth. And she goes, that's growth, right? And I was like, yes, that is growth. Because she goes from wanting to destroy everything that Rupert loved, because Rupert loved the club.
Yep.
And so to her, she just was like, I want to get rid of everything and make him hurt as much as me. And she's now at that next stage of, I just want to beat him, which, can you say that's healthy or not?
It's definitely like a form of catharsis, I'm sure, because at no point in these first 2 seasons has she really, like, at any point come out on top. Like, yeah, she still has the team. They, but she hasn't had a chance to, they haven't won anything. They got relegated at the end of the first season. They spent all of season 2 trying to come back and ultimately didn't clench the big win at the end. And now they've got Nate. And so,
hey, but they still got promoted though, which is a big accomplishment.
It is, but you can tell that she's still just like, but in the course of getting promoted again, they lost Nate, and they lost their reputation nonetheless. So
I would say that they didn't lose their reputation.
Well, they're expected to. They're coming in last place in all the in every poll, so everyone has a pretty low expectation of them.
But that's the case of most, and Jan Maas, who always speaks the truth, no matter whether you want to hear it or not, says, well, most teams that are promoted go back, which is the case. So the fact that they're being projected as 20th, to me, is not, oh, it's a bad reputation on the club and looking ill on the club, because you have these teams that are yo-yo teams, that they are way better than the championship, but they just are not at the level of the Premier League yet. Because you look at different leagues, and the Premier League is considered one of the top leagues in the world right now. At one point in time, it was the Serie A, which was is Italy, but right now it's the Premier League. And then you have the top 5 leagues, which is the Bundesliga, Serie A, League, La Liga, and the French league, Ligue 1, I think is what it's called. And so like the championship is below those leagues, like in quality of play. But so when you're yo-yoing between, you have teams that yo-yo between the championship and the Premier League because they're better than the rest of the championship, but they're just not as good in the Premier League. So they go straight back down and they go back and forth every year. And so to me, I was like, yeah, that makes sense that they're projected to go back down. That's the case all the in real life. Fulham, which is a team that was promoted last year from the championship, they were predicted to go back down, and they're in the top half of the table. So, and they're kind of blowing everyone else out of the water. So I was like, oh, are they going to be the Fulham of this show where they do way better than anyone thinks? Which, I mean, it happens all the time. Anyone who gets promoted, they're like, oh, they're going to go right back down.
Well, look, at the end of the day, the ultimate lesson we need to learn from this episode was spoken very poetically by Jamie Tart.
Mm-hmm.
It's all just poopy.
It's all just poopy.
It's all just poopy.
I love his Manc accent. And
So
I love
good.
that it's not his actual accent that he puts on that Manc accent.
Yeah. It's so good. It's the whole scene, the whole sequence in the sewer system was great. Like when he's telling him about, he's like, my son saw the movie It, and he was really terrified, so he wanted to come down here and face his fears. And even Roy is like, that's really smart.
That's
actually.
smart.
Good kid. It was very good. Speaking of Roy, to get into the thing about this episode I hated, I mean legit hated, is them breaking up Roy and Keeley.
Though his niece is still adorable.
She is, but if this turns into Ross and Rachel on Friends, where they're going to break them up just to get them back together in the last episode, I don't like that. I really don't like that. If they're breaking them up just to get them back together again, who cares? That to me, as much as I love this show, that is such a lazy trope when it comes to writing romance in shows and movies, to break up the couple just so they did it in Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, where in Jurassic World, Bryce Dallas Howard, Chris Pratt get together at the end, but then they've broken up before the next movie just so they can get back together halfway through. Or even in Jurassic Park, Grant and Ellie are together, and then they break them up for Jurassic Park 3 just so they can get them back together in Dominion. I'm like, I don't stop doing that, please.
Although I will say the writing of this show is way better than Friends.
Sure.
Sorry to all the people who love Friends.
No,
I don't like
sorry.
that. I was like,
sorry.
I don't like that show very much.
Friends
I think Ross is one of those, but I'm a nice guy type of dudes.
Yeah. Ross is the
fuckboy.
He's the fuckboy, nice guy, red flag, and Rachel is just the worst human being on the face of the earth. But anyway,
so to me, that's not Keeley and Roy, and I feel like this show seems to do everything for a reason, and seems to really focus on character growth, and so I freaking hate that they're broken up, and the cars outside agree because they're zooming by my house. So I absolutely hate it, but I'm like, the show hasn't let me down yet, so I'm gonna trust it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna trust it for now.
But I think I told you texting after I watched it, I was like, this better not last long. Like, I don't want it to last the whole season. If they break up for a couple episodes and get together with their bullshit, which the show is very good about doing, if they're able to get past it in the next couple of episodes, I'll leave it alone. But if it's literally the last episode before they get back together again, that's where I was telling you, I was like, either get them back together really quick or don't get them back together.
I mean, you have in the words of Roy's niece, can I say so? can I say a bad word? I think you're being stupid.
Yeah,
So
it's just stupid for them
I
that
I
it's
think
yeah.
he even because like in the conversation that they're having with the niece, because at first when they're like, oh, we're gonna have the talk with Roy's niece, I was just like, oh, did she like walk in on them having sex or something? Like
Yeah,
that
that's
was
what I thought they were going for, because I thought there's no way they broke them up. There's
right, exactly.
no way.
And so then even to Keeley says we're going on a break, and he says we're broken up, which those are two different things. And
Yeah, Friends fans.
yeah, one we were on a break
No,
because
you
you're
broke up.
still a fuck boy. Um,
Those
fucking
2 are
hate
just
Ross,
those 2 are
which
this
which is
Ross and
funny
Rachel deserve
because
each other.
the third on person of Off the Wall,
Yeah.
Bogz, loves that show and loves Ross. Fuck
Ro
Ross.
Ross is the worst. Ross is the second worst, Rachel's the worst. They deserve each other. Um,
But
this is not the
so
anti-Friend show. Friends suck, kids.
but the fact that you have Keely even's like, oh, doesn't even know why they're breaking up. Cause like she seems in that moment to not even know why they're breaking up. And then he too was like being asked, why are you doing this? I don't know, by the niece. So to me, both of them are breaking up even though they don't want to, which unfortunately happens in real life when you
Does.
have two people that care a lot about each other and still want to be with each other and then still break up for whatever reason and neither side knows why they broke up.
I honestly feel like I'm pretty sure Roy is the one who probably initiated the breakup in this
Oh,
case, because
100% because she said we're going on a break and he said we're broken up.
well, because we saw the seeds of that planted at the end of last
Mhm.
season, where he was like, "Hey, you ready to go on our vacation?" She's like, "Oh, go by
Yeah.
yourself. I have to go do a million other things." And he was just kind of like, "Oh, this is going to be a problem."
Yeah.
And it's very clear that, and we don't know what all has happened with Keely's business yet. I'm sure we're
Mhm.
starting to learn,
I
but
mean, she's crying at work, so not good as
well,
good
we know
sign.
that she's making some bad financial decisions, because her CFO comes in and is like, why are you having flowers delivered to the office every day? Because they smell nice.
Yeah, 200 pounds on flowers a week,
Yeah.
which
Um,
I mean, I love the reasoning. I love the reasoning.
sure.
That's still
That's
too much money.
a lot of money. That's 1,000 pounds a week. So
No, not a week, a month.
but so it makes me wonder, like, I get the feeling that Keely had like backed herself into such a corner with how much she was taking on,
Mm,
that Roy was just like, I never see you anymore.
yeah,
Um, and no one wants to be in a relationship where they never see the other person. And
right,
so it sounds to me like Roy probably got to the point where he was just kind of like, I know it's not your fault, but this isn't a relationship anymore. I I can't be in this, in whatever this, and again, we don't know for sure. I'm speculating here, but
right.
just
He
based
needs to
on
go
what
hang out with the older ladies and get
yeah,
some perspective.
he needs to go hang out with the grandmas and drink rosé and watch his dating shows and do his yoga, because that's good for him. Um, but yeah, so we're gonna learn more about that. It's one of those writing tropes that just gets under my skin.
Yeah,
Uh, I know they're tropes for a reason, because like they are effective storytelling tools. That's one of the ones that
yeah,
just
yeah.
bugs.
The one that you don't like, which I mean, that's the case.
There's like 3 that I don't
You
like.
have there's tropes that are in shows and in books like enemies to lovers and friends to lovers, and some just there's some tropes that people just freaking hate.
Yeah,
And then like and one person can hate it and one person can love it. And they're like, "Oh, I love when that happens." So it just happens to be one that you really
I
dislike.
really dislike it. Yeah, that's like one
And
of my biggest ones.
so we'll see what happens there. I want to see there's that lady that's Rebecca's friend. I felt like Ted and her.
Um, what was her name? Busy,
Yeah.
Dizzy, something like
I would
Izzy.
like to see more of Ted with that lady. Um
I would
but
too, but I don't know.
if we're going on the romance side, but going
Yeah,
back to just the team,
Sassy. That's her name.
Sassy,
Sassy.
that's right.
Yeah.
Um kind of love what they're doing with Jamie Tart. And Jamie Tart's just full on character arc that from the first season on, where Jamie Tart was a fuckboy that everyone hated.
He was the worst.
He was the worst. And now he is kind of taking that leadership role in the locker room and is kind of the one there that's like, yeah, everyone just like it's all poopy.
All
And
just poopy. Let it flow. It's all
let
just
it,
poopy.
yeah, and kind of because he's become a better person. And I love that for Jamie.
Yeah.
And I love too the thought of like we all are here for each other. So if you need a little confidence, take some from Jamie. If you need a little energy, take some from Danny. If you need to know about expensive wines, goes not expensive, fine wine.
Exactly.
Take it. I forget the guy's name, but the French one.
Yeah. I cannot remember what his name is for the life of me.
Yeah, the one that brought a date to the Christmas party that you just met. Because if you're going to have a party, you
like 3 French players. Shit, I don't know which one it is.
if you're gonna have a party, you have to have a beautiful woman there. I'm like,
Sure. Yeah, of
I'm
course.
I'm cool with that.
I really want to know what Danny Rojas thinks, but that's just me. And I'm also curious to see how Trent Krim is going to get reincorporated because he was in a lot of the trailer. They made a whole big thing about his spot being taken over at the Independent in this episode.
Yeah.
And he's got main cast billing for season 3.
I feel like he's gonna have his own kind of blog or something that he's gonna go out on his own.
I think it's gonna be that, or I think Rebecca might hire him to like
as a PR guy.
Because everything with Nate is gonna be they're not just gonna battle on the pitch they're gonna battle in the press, and they're gonna need.
So far, Ted is winning.
So far, he is. That was so good.
I love the contrast between both pressers.
Yeah.
Because you have the one with Nate where kind of the meanness and the hostility that was there, and him constantly looking up to Rupert for approval. And you can even tell in some moments that he kind of knows he's going the wrong way, but he's getting the intended outcome that he wants, which is the attention, because he doesn't get that attention from his father. Even in that text that goes, we saw you on TV, your father didn't like that you cursed. His father always has a problem with one thing or another when it comes to Nate.
I hate Nate right now, but fuck his dad. Seriously.
Yeah, fuck his dad. And then he also thought last season that Ted wasn't paying enough attention to him, which Ted like had his own shit to deal with, and was like, he doesn't even have my picture when he literally had it in his house. And and instead of having it at work because it was something that was that important to him. So the fact that Nate is going down the wrong path, kind of knows that he but is getting the intended outcome of the attention that he wants, even if it's from the worst human being, Rupert. Got that new car, is being mean in his presser towards his former club. The fact that Ted is being Ted, and even Keely was just like, good job for letting Ted be Ted. It's like, how dumb am I? Like, and just having and still saying nice things about Nate and showing his class and showing he won that battle there. And I feel like that's going to be a lot where Nate's just going to be a total asshole and Ted is still going to be a good guy. And Nate's going to be like, what do I have to say or do to get you pissed off at me? Because I feel like right now that's what Nate wants, is for Ted to be just as mean back.
Well,
and Ted never is going to be.
No, because the one time Ted ever lashed out at Nate was when he was drunk in the hotel room and the stuff with his divorce was going down. And he came to him the very morning after and said, I was dealing with my own shit. None of that was you.
Yeah.
And you didn't deserve that. Like,
yeah.
He was never anything but gracious and supportive to Nate. And it eventually got to the point where he kind of expected Nate to stand on his own 2 feet. Like, gotten here. Like, you don't need to prove anything to anyone anymore. And Nate is learning all the wrong lessons from all the wrong places, because every time he does what he thinks he's supposed to do, what everyone else is doing that's popular, he gets cut down by his father or by someone else. And he's learning the wrong lessons from that. He's like, oh, well, I'm just not doing it enough. Then if I do it more, then they'll respect me. And it's like, it's because you're not being who you are, is ultimately what it comes down to for Nate. He's not being himself. Because then Rupert turns around and gives him a nice new car, and like a child, Nate's like, oh, okay, everything's better now.
Right. It's like, oh, I'm doing a good thing because this is what I have. Right. And now, and I don't know, it's kind of one of those tragic things, which I think also mirrors real life. You have people that are good people deep down, but come off as total assholes because of their environment. And just because you know why they're assholes doesn't excuse why they are, but it brings more context. And so we know why Nate is being an asshole. And if he's going to have any redemption, he's got a lot to work towards this season to get that redemption. But we know why he's acting the way he is.
Yeah. So I don't have to like it, but it helps to understand it at least. So we're one episode into this season, though. I'm not sure how many episodes this season's going to have.
I think it's 12 is what I saw.
I think that's what they usually go for. They've got 12 listed on Wikipedia, so we'll see. But and I know that this season, I know that Brett Goldstein wrote, I think, 2 episodes. And I know that I think Sudeikis wrote most of the others.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how. I really want to know about that episode that Brett wrote. I think that's going to be
him and Keely.
I think it's going to be a lot of that. So we'll see.
Does it say on Wikipedia which ones he wrote?
It says Brett Goldstein wrote episode 4.
That's probably when you're going to get him and Keely back together.
I fucking better. Fucking better. I will be so angry. Anyway, really enjoyed the episode. Laughed a lot of heart in it. And I'm here to watch Nate get his. And I'm here to watch Rupert get his. But you know,
and I'm here for there's this one where it was like, I support women's good, but I also support women's bads. like women being bad. So,
yeah, I'm into it.
So and, Hannah Waddingham, she can do no wrong in my eyes. She is so fucking hot.
I also I love that, you know, Keely has the cry out and she goes back to the office and Higgins is like, what happened to you? He's like, oh, Keely crying, and he opens up his shirt like, I get it.
I've never gotten this stain out.
I've never gotten this stain out.
I'm surprised she wears all this on her face.
Yeah. It's so good. They clearly have not lost a step when it comes to, like, these actors have not lost a step when it comes to understanding the characters that they portray. We've got a long way to go. There's still a lot of things from season 2 that are left over we haven't addressed yet because it's only been 1 episode. You know, Sam and Rebecca. Do we readdress that? Do we readdress Sassy and Ted, especially now that Mommy's got a new friend? You know, do we readdress? You know, you got to remember towards the end of season 2, Jamie told Keely that he still loved her.
Yeah.
And you know, allegedly Roy and Jamie worked it out. He was just like, yeah, she told me. It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think too, we're going to address why Ted's still there, because that was one of the questions he had, is why, after 3 years, why am I still here? Like, I know why I came in the first place, but why am I still here?
Yeah. A lot of questions that need to be answered for what is allegedly the last season. We'll see, but there are still a lot of questions left over from season 2 that need to be addressed. But again, we've got 11 more episodes to answer those questions. I'm looking forward to the next episode. I'm going to watch it. soon as I can on Wednesday, and we'll hopefully have the review for that one out a lot sooner than we did this one, because whatever, we're busy. We got life, guys. We have lives, people. So that's what we thought. Please let us know what you guys thought. Let us know down in the comments. Let us know on Twitter. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And we will see you guys again here next time on Off the Wall.